Hello, beautiful being. I bet you're here because you're looking for creative ways to live your life. If I found my way to your ears today, you probably want this life to have meaning, you care for deep conversation, and you wish for us to always evolve into a better version of ourselves. Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Shakti's Gift. My name is Marigol Era. I'm an unschooling mother, a creative force, an Ayurvedic wellness coach, and mostly a trailblazer. I've been unschooling my kids since the beginning of my motherhood journey 13 years ago. And let me tell you that after more than a decade and many experiences, I feel we need to gather more than ever and evolve together as mothers. You don't have to be unschooling to enjoy this podcast. You don't even need to be a mother. Everyone willing to support this amazing journey of raising the next generation is deeply welcome here because it truly does take a village. It's time to create change, and the ripple effects of those changes are infinite. So I say, let's transcend those barriers, those limiting beliefs. We don't need them anymore. And let's make room for creative ways to improve our lives instead, so that we can impact positively the future of humanity. Ready? All right. Go grab yourself something to drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's dive deep into Shakti's gift. All right. Welcome, Bradley. I'm so
I'm
glad you're here.
glad to be here. This
Yeah,
is
this is a very special interview for me because we've worked together with the music of Shakti's Gift, and you're a very special person for me.
oh,
So
thank
thank you so much for
you
being
too.
here.
Yeah, you are appreciated, and it's been a beautiful experience to co-create with you. It's super cool. It's super cool. It just firsts that really
Yeah.
blew my mind. So thank you.
Same.
Well, yeah,
Same. It was such a
so
great experience, and we're gonna keep on creating stuff together.
more to
And
come. Yeah,
yeah, there's more
yeah.
to come.
hmm
All right, so today we're gonna talk about, creativity. You're all about music, and you have like a very unique and special path that you're gonna share with us. And I'm very excited because I don't know the whole story, so it's gonna be surprises for me as well.
hmm Yeah, I
So
don't
how
think
about
anybody knows the whole story. I don't know
right?
if anybody ever will, but we're going to break it down as much as we can. And we're just going to be real.
Yeah,
I'm here
exactly.
for.
Exactly. That's the true medicine.
Mhm.
So when did music came into your life path?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so music for me, I have memories of, um, nobody knows this, but when I was a baby, before I had a sense
Mm,
of self, before I had an ego, before I had an identity of my own, I had memories of past life. Past life, I was a very successful musician who
mm,
got extremely used, abused, and died a horrible death. Um, so instilled in my soul, my heart, I had this deep, deep, deep um, connection, like cosmic connection, where I knew and I was told internally, innately, intuitively, before I could understand that music was my communication, that I was meant to put to speak the truth and to put everything. The most powerful form of communication for me was music, and
mm,
I knew that from before I knew who I was. And Bradley and this incarnation, like, it was given to me. So when I was my mother had a piano in the house. She played piano as a
mm,
child, and kept the piano around. And so at like 4 years old, I would just climb up there and just play. And she just came in and was like, "Do you want lessons? Because you really, like, you seem like you really can do this." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I want lessons." So she got me this really strict Russian uh, classical piano teacher who she said, "Yeah, if his form drops, yeah, you can smack him with a ruler. It's okay." And it was very strict, and it was very, I mean, it was proper classical piano. Like,
Mhm.
so like the music in front of me, reading, but so by the time I was maybe 7, I was doing pretty large piano concerts, like, I mean, maybe crowds of 40, 50.
Nice.
But I had to sit on phone books to reach the keys, Um, but I mean, I used to have VHSs of it. I lost everything now, but it's just like it started there,
Mm.
and being in this feeling of this energy and this connectivity between the feeling it from the people around me, and just having a feeling of true satisfaction, like really satisfying feeling inside.
Mm.
The thing was that it was all like, okay, either I play this music proper that's in front of me on the sheet and this and that. So I wanted to create, though. I wanted to write, I wanted to vocalize, and
Mhm.
I couldn't find that over my classically trained strict piano. So when I was 11 years old, against my mother's wishes, my father showed up. Rest in peace, both of them. But she did not want me to get a guitar. She was
Mm.
dead set against it. She said, "No, you are going to stay with classical piano. This is you. This is what you're going to do." And I said, "No, I'm going to rock, and I said, and I'm gonna express myself." She said, "No, you're not." But my dad showed up. It was my 11th birthday, and he came. He he came in with this little pawn shop electric guitar with a little practice amp, and said, "Happy birthday, son." Gave it to me, kissed me, and said, "Now I'm going to go before your mother kills me." And he left. And I mean, literally, that was it. I mean, I went into my bedroom with it and I locked myself away, and that guitar became my best friend. Um,
Mm.
I basically just took what I knew from piano, because I already knew treble clef, bass clef. I knew music. I knew it. So um, melodies that were already in my head and things um, that I wanted to say just started flooding out, and I started writing songs at 11. I didn't have no idea what I was doing, but
Mm.
and then it just literally, I was like grabbing little friends that were neighbors, and I'm like, "Hey, you seem like you can play the drums. I got a little drum set at home." Like, I started just grabbing, instruments, like a remote, like a little junior pro drum kit. I'm like, grab my neighbor Ricky. I'm like, "Hey, come and try and play with me. And so I'm like, just literally, and then one of my first bass players, I put the bass in his hand, and I was like, "You could do this." He's like, "I've never touched this in my life." I'm like, "No, this is what you do." I'm like, "Here, play this note, this note. This is how you do it." And to this day, he's playing and he's very successful. And he does his own thing, and we still collaborate. Um,
That's
and
amazing.
it's been this incredible journey of meeting and collaborating, and worlds colliding, musical worlds colliding. But I think the cool thing for me is that it's always kept me sane. Like, I've been like the black sheep, right?
Mhm.
I was I questioned everything, and I didn't accept the status quo, if you will.
Mhm.
So that
Yep.
was a problem for me in school from day one. Um, so I was treated differently. They told me I was bad. I had a behavior disorder. Okay,
Mhm.
that's a diagnosis, right? You have a behavior disorder because you question what you. I'm like, that's not right. Or like, what is this all? And they're like, you can't ask these questions. And I'm like, why not? Like, I want to know. I deserve to know. We all deserve to know. Um, but and in the family too, like, it's just like I was different. I was different than everybody, everybody in my school. I was different than everybody in my family. Um, but my mom supported me. I had the rest of my family was like, "Why are you letting him do this?" There's no future in this. Like, make him be a doctor or something. Make him be a lawyer or whatever. And she just told him, just stop and listen to him. Just
Mm.
listen to him. And you want me to stop him from doing
Mm.
that? It's like, no way, no way. So I remember that was probably when I was 15 through my early teens, proceeding, and they're just like, stop them before it's too late. And there were some really satisfying moments where neither of us had to say I told you so, but there were definitely some shining moments where family that had very much looked down on me and what I was
Mm.
doing, came out to see sold out metro crowds of kids going crazy, knowing every word, jumping off the stages, just going crazy. And they're like, okay, maybe there is something to this. Maybe,
Yeah.
um, and, my 23rd birthday, I was with this band Ilroot for a few years. We had a production deal to record with George Langus with Signal Sound Source. Um, and then we had lineup switches because things got messy in the studio. Like when
Mm.
it became like you have to, and it back then there was no Pro Tools. There was no like, you had to play and perform perfect. You have to do it, or there was no computer
Mm.
fixing stuff. It was like your performance was your performance, and you better stick it. So we were in there for a year, and then personal differences, we imploded. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, beautiful experiences from it, and from every many groups, and beautiful experiences from it. 23rd birthday, played to a sold out House of Blues.
Nice.
It was incredible. But the thing for me at the time was everything I prayed for and everything I knew. I knew I was going to manifest this, right? But the second that I was off the stage and there's 2,000 people going, come here. Oh, we want you. Have drink with me and do the, pulling on you, wanting you. It was too much for me. Like everybody's like, oh, I
Mhm.
love you. And I'm like, I don't know how to accept that. Like it was too much
Mm.
for me because I didn't feel it in myself.
Mhm.
So I rejected it. It was like, so, um, but I continue because like, no matter what, it's like, I didn't, it's hard to explain,
It's like
but,
this duality, right? It's like
yeah,
you have this thing in your soul that you need to do, and you also have this thing in your, well, let's say your ego, or like something that's just like telling you no, you don't have the right, or you cannot
you're not
allow this to
worthy. You're
happen,
not,
you're not
yeah.
worthy. Yeah, that little
Hmm.
voice, and then you're like torn in between, like what your sole purpose is and what the exterior is like giving you that you can receive.
Yeah, it was, that was definitely, the heavy experience of duality within myself. Some people will call it like imposter syndrome
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, but I definitely knew, or my ego knew, that I was good and that there was no question that I could do whatever I desired to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that subconscious programming that from a little child I was told I wasn't good enough, and
Yeah.
all those things. So um, I had this battle. The conflict was internal. My war within was really real.
Yeah.
So I struggled with that, and then of course when you're a musician and you're playing with other young musicians, everybody's got an ego, whether they
For
think so
sure.
or not. Like I don't care. You're a performer. You want to be in the spotlight. You want all this. You have an ego. You have a
For sure.
more than likely a big freaking ego. Um, and I always have been a creator and a writer, so like I will have the ability to write a whole set list, 10 songs, boom, here we go, in a month, like done, let's go play shows and off, um, and depending on how egos clash, depending on how far we made it with each different groupings,
Yep.
and a lot of the groupings were some same members, just in different, sw- switched around, changed the name, write a new set. Um, but again, it was, I had trouble accepting the success that was coming. Was like I felt like that imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I still was like, well, I've worked my whole life for this, and this is what brings me joy. So I have to accept this fear of this. I was scared of the love.
Mhm.
I was scared of it because like I didn't feel it inside myself.
Yeah.
So it was scary. And then
Yeah.
everything really changed when I was 26 and I broke my spine. Um, at
Yeah, let's
that
go
point,
there.
yeah, like if we want to be real and vulnerable, which I'm complete. That's completely what I'm about now. Like no mask on. Like
Mhm.
people can judge me however they want. They can think however they want. They've never walked 1 mile in my shoes, and they never will.
Mhm.
And I've been surrounded by people who took the same path, and they're all dead, or they're in the gutter, in the streets. They're not happy endings, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I ended up, going through the spinal breakage, and at the time, I knew it was broken, but
So what happened? Let me ask you, like, what happened? How did you break your spine?
okay. So the original breakage occurred when I was actually performing. And
Mm.
at the time, so the guitar that I played already was about 22-pound guitar. Because back
Mm.
then, like I played a 7-string electric. And back then they weren't like common. Like I had to custom order them, and it was very heavy. Um,
Mhm.
and I was that performer that just high octane, jumping, get 10 feet in the air, be like, yeah. That's why kids go crazy at the shows back then, because I was a maniac,
Mm.
and putting on a show. So I don't know what possessed me, but I climbed the house speakers on the stage that we are playing on. I'm at the top. I can't even stand up because the ceiling of the place is between the top speakers, and it's like about 15 feet of speaker, and then about 15 feet from stage down, 10 feet, so like 25, 30 feet in the air,
Yeah.
with my guitar playing up there, duck down like this because I can't stand up. And everybody's like, jump, jump. And adrenaline and everything is just like, and I jumped like, eh, don't trust your fans. Like, I love y'all. If you love me, I love you, but I'll never trust you to catch me ever again, and I'll never jump again. I went with it's like part of like the Red Sea, they call me Moses, boom, and I smacked the ground, and then right after that, everybody just came trampling forward, and somebody stomped right on the base of my spine, and I heard and felt it break and snap, and
Oh
I,
my
I I I
God.
couldn't stand up. I was stuck like this. I got back up on stage. I finished the show, and I
Of
played
course.
more shows after. I continued to play shows. Um,
Right.
they took. I went to the ER. They took regular X-rays, and they didn't see that my L5 was completely extruded and broken, with the broken piece stuck and lodged in the base of my spinal cord, ready to slice it in half at any moment. They didn't find that for almost 9 months. Um,
Wow.
so during that time, while I was, they were giving me pain medication and all this stuff, and I just continued going forward, practicing playing shows. Um, but everything hurt so bad that it didn't
Mm.
even matter. Didn't matter, what they gave to me for the pain. Um, and everybody around me, honestly, really like abandoned me or screwed me over. One person was supposed to be my friend was just a rat. Um,
Mm.
and and whatever. Everybody has their own journeys, and I'm not, I'm not projecting any blame on anybody for the series of events that transpired after that. But
Mhm.
essentially, everybody basically was like, "Oh, how bad could it be?" And kind of like, "Well, you can't do what you did, so kind of like seem like, oh, you're not worth anything again to us or whatever."
Mhm.
So I really found myself alone, and then so once they finally after found, and I had to have emergency spinal surgery, and the surgeon was like, "It's beyond a miracle that not paralyzed completely. Like that piece
Mm.
of bone should have sliced you in half. I told him, if I walked in with a cane, gimping, limping, and even then he's like, "How are you even doing that?" He's like, "Come see your MRIs. Come see this." He's like, I can't believe this." So he called me Superman, and at that point, my mother was still alive, and even she was like, "How bad? Come on, how bad could it be?" And I'm like, "You think I'm gonna go from this life that I'm manifested to a life where I'm suffering and I can't wipe myself. I can't take
Mm-hmm.
care of myself. I'm stuck in bed like that. Literally, it was horrible. Um, and so I ended up finally, they did emergency surgery. So shortly, a few months after, I'm like, well, I need to go back to work. I need to go to work. I need to make money. I need to pay rent. I need to eat. I need to do
Yeah.
things. Um, so I went to work. Right across the street there was Starbucks. I had worked there when I was a teenager. I went back and worked there again. Made it about a year and a half there, and then snap again in my spine. What they ended up doing was just taking out the disc and the piece of bone,
Mm.
and then what they ended up having to do later was go in and put a spacer in, a little C bracket spacer where my L5 used to be. It's
Yep.
something that would hold a chair to a table, but not a human up. But it does, or yeah, and so then they fused me, and then they put titanium cages and rods, and basically during that during that whole time period, obviously I couldn't work. I filed for disability. I got denied until 2010. I got to get in front of a judge. By the time I got in front of a judge, which was already in Arizona, because I had lost everything here and I was
Mm-hmm.
homeless and I was it, so you know, thank God, I have a brother, an older brother,
Mm.
Jason, who is the best brother that anybody could ever ask for.
Mm.
Um, truly, truly an angel. And I know our
Mm.
last name means angel in German, but he is my Jason Angel. Um, so he said, no, you come out to Arizona and you live with me, and we'll take care of your disability, and you're not gonna die on the street.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
blessed, So I ended up getting in front of the judge, and after 3 years of this process, um, it took literally 1 minute in front of the judge. The judge came out and goes, "Okay, where's all the medical paperwork for his disability case?" He said, "Oh, you're looking at it." And he said, "All of these boxes, this entire courtroom, is pertaining to his disability." They're like, "Yes, Your Honor." And he looks at me and goes, at the time I was 30, 20, 29, 30 years old. And he looks at me and goes, "Man, you look like you just don't want to be here. Like you would not choose this. You're good looking and you know what you seem very sharp to me, like a very sharp young man. Do you want to be here?" No.
Mm.
He just slams the gavel and goes 100% disabled, non-workable. He's like, "I'm so sorry that you've gone through these years and this struggle." But then, the thing is getting disability was like, oh, cool. So like I could maybe have a place to live and stuff. But no, you can't even support yourself on that.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, you can't pay rent and eat and do all those things. Um, so you know, I ended up spiraling into mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
so through my 30s, I had stopped playing music. I never thought I would be playing again. Um, and I think most people that knew me didn't think I was going to ever play again either. Um, but
Mm.
when COVID hit and I was at my rock bottom, which is obviously many years later, um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was living in a tent. I was I was barely surviving, and I was
Mm-hmm.
in the lowest state of consciousness I think a human could be in, truly chained, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but when COVID hit, um, I think, most people say that was the worst year, man. That was the year that I had awakened. That was the year that I had truly broken down to break through, and I mean, the light shone, and my, I just be 100% honest with you. What I thought was the breakdown, which was a spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody around me understood. I couldn't communicate it. It was very much otherworldly. Um, uh, so the
So
only
what
thing I,
happened? What
well,
happened? Yeah, your
yeah.
spiritual awakening. Like you were on the street for
hmm
how long?
for a long time. Yeah, like I was literally living in a tent in the desert, you know. Sometimes in a garage of a
Right.
girlfriend. Um, and the garage was like my best scenario for quite a few years. At
Yeah.
least I would have like a lazy boy to try to sleep in. Um, and being in Arizona wasn't freezing. Like it would get cold, but
Oh
if you
yeah.
wear winter clothes and then a blanket you were okay, Whereas here in Chicago, where I
Oh
am,
yeah, you
well,
wouldn't
no,
be
no, I would have died.
for
I
sure.
wouldn't have made it for sure. So all these little things, but my spiritual awakening, um, because I truly thought, and I mean, I truly thought I was going crazy. I thought none of this could be real. What God's showing me, it cannot be real. What I'm, these experiences that I'm having cannot be real. They're the most realist, the most realist and greatest gifts I've ever received. But I ended up literally, I didn't know what to do, and I was just so I checked myself into the hospital, you know, um, and in the hospital, it was just such a mystical experience. And I know it sounds crazy, like, oh my God, you had an awakening and went into a psychiatric ward. Like, yeah, I did, I totally did, and while I went in and I mean, I've been shown, and my angels were coming to me. I had now had direct contact with the light, and you know don't tell us, like, don't tell the doctors that. Do not tell the doctors that. Okay, instantly, like, they're just like, schizo. I'm like, no. Like, I'm in my 40s. You don't just become that. But I didn't know these things at the time. But I just was like, they asked me, and like, I had no filter. It was like the truth was coming out, and they're like, take these pills here, pills, 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 pills. So I spent 2 weeks in the hospital, and during that time, I had many mystical, transcendent experiences. But I mean, sorry, I had my first like really transcendent experience where I experienced myself as the universe, as the one, as the Godhead when I was 16 years old. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, so I've always been aware and in touch, and obviously, spirituality. But I was raised Jewish, bar mitzvah,
Hmm.
but I never got the truth from it. It's
Yeah.
all been diluted, and it's all to spirituality is unity, it's oneness.
Yes.
And so I explored all these religions, and I find they all tried to separate me from the other, and they're all separating us, and everybody's wrong except for that we're right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
When nobody You have to use discernment, and you have to travel the path, and you have to walk the walk. That's what it's
Mm-mm.
all about, period. So 2 weeks in the psych ward, and they're like, do you still have contact with your angels? Your spirit guides coming to you? I'm like, no. I'm like, no, not at all. Like, no more angels, no nothing. They're like, okay, the medicine's working. So they're like, we're gonna let you out back into the world. So I got out, and from that moment I got out, it was like all my people around me that were homeless and addicts as well. Um, I came out a different person. Like
Mhm.
I would like, instead of like, oh, let's go and get high and do this and that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go and sit under that tree in the park, and I'm gonna put my headphones on and listen to frequencies and meditate for 3 hours. Like I'm literally just gonna go off on my own and just meditate all day. I'm gonna go back into the desert, but not as a broken person, but as one that's connected to God and spirit and nature.
Mm.
And everything changed for me. My whole life changed. Got my first job, and my only actual legitimate job. Um, January 2nd, I started when COVID hit, because it was an
No way.
essential. It was an essential business, self storage. A
Mm.
self storage facility. So I was hired on as assistant manager. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Eddie May, if you ever see this or hear this, for giving me the opportunity. Because I
Mm.
didn't believe in myself anymore. I didn't think I was capable of working. I hadn't worked since '07. So it was 2020. Um,
Mhm.
and I spent a little over a year and a half there. And during that time, even though I was working and getting disability, there was two brief moments where I had my own bedroom somewhere for the first time for a couple months
Mm.
here and there. And I said, wow, the first time I had my own bedroom again, and I went in for the first time. I put my stuff away and everything, and I shut the door, and I just sat down and I wept. I cried like a baby for I don't know how long, just tears and tears and tears of joy. Um,
Mhm.
People, it can happen to you. Don't take it for granted. You can lose everything. You're one accident, you're one mishap, you're one thing away. And don't ever say that the struggle isn't real, that you just have to work harder, you have to do more. That's BS.
Mm,
That's
mm,
BS.
mm.
Everybody has a struggle, because that's how we learn. We learn our
Mhm.
lessons the hard way. We're in the human school. We're in the earth school. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came out and I was a completely different person. I was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, so a lot of things wrong with you. I see it now, you know? So I literally put everything that I had
Mm.
into earning as much money as I could, and came back to Illinois, thinking that, I don't know, just seeing what was going to happen,
Mhm.
and I came back, and right away started formed a little 3-piece band, started doing shows like I did back in my 20s.
Mm.
And my body, and I'm just like, man, I'm like, this is not right for me. This is not success. I've already done this a million times. Like, this is so not fulfilling. Like a bunch of
Mm.
wasted drunk people who don't even remember probably the next day. I'm giving my heart, my life
Mm.
force, and it's just like, oh, here's drink tickets. Well, I don't drink anymore, so you know,
Mm, mm, mm.
and it's like, well, where's my worth? I mean, I'm not like, oh, we need you, this and that, but I mean, like, I'm not even get $1, or like, like I'm getting a little bit here and there, but it's like, I got more off the first show the band did from putting out a tip bucket. You know what I mean? Like, literally, there was almost $300 in the tip bucket. And
Mm.
at the end, it's like, I'm the last one actually who is important to get any money. The last one, you know, but I'm the front man. Like, I'm
Mhm.
the songwriter. I'm not that I'm everything, because I can't do it without everybody. But like, I've always been the last to be considered, like, oh,
Mm.
and then not respected,
Mhm.
not given the respect. And when I, tell my band members, hey, I'm starting to have major physical issues from doing this, and to be told that's an excuse, and these things, which is gaslighting, narcissistic, very, very low conscious level of, you know
Mhm.
trying to understand somebody's understanding, which is
Mhm.
what we're supposed to do. That's why we're supposed to be compassionate and empathetic.
Mm.
We're instilled with these God qualities and traits because we're supposed to use them. We're supposed to be based in them, in the heart. Um, but nobody cared. The ones that are around me said they cared. They didn't care. But you know what? I know why I came here. and I know why I came back here. And it's all right here. It's right
Mm-hmm.
here. It's right here in my home. It's right here with my family. I'm gonna get married. I, I proposed and she said yes. She's wearing my ring. She's wearing my ring, and we're gonna get married. And right now, I'm going through some new health issues,
Mm-hmm.
and it's testing my faith,
Yeah.
to be honest, because I've been really sick and it really it just hit hard. Um, but I'm now finally have just gotten in to see, I believe, the right people, and I'm in the right hands, and we're gonna figure out what's going on, and
Yeah, that's for sure.
get me back up.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this story. And I have to say, like, I let me just think. I think it was like 2010 maybe. I was actually on the street too, but I was traveling, all right? So I was traveling in California
Oh, you
and
weren't far from me.
I know, and I went to Arizona, and you're describing your story, and it touches me so deeply because I met you, not specifically you, but I met you. I met all
You
kinds
weren't far
of
from me.
people that were living in the desert in California and Arizona, in Nevada, and it was just like I felt their soul like being sucked out of them, but I saw in their eyes. And I saw in your eyes, even though it wasn't you, but I see you, and it's like this light that is still there. And I'm so happy that you got the pushed to actually help you, because I've seen these humans and it's so freaking sad, it's just so amazingly, it broke me. It broke me to see all those people on drugs, and I was only like a little 27-year old
And you see
traveling,
the hopelessness.
and you see it, yes, and you
When
see it,
firsthand
and
is a different
and
thing.
yeah, and there's something bigger. I was
Mhm.
already like in that spiritual realm at the moment, and I just, I hit those savior moment where I was like, we need to help you, I need to help you, but it wasn't doing anything because it has to come from within, like it did for you, it has to be like something that just like lights your path.
You know, now again, like kind of goes along with like my MC artist name, like my alter ego,
Yeah.
paradox frequency
Yes.
manipulator. So when I was still homeless, and I was sleeping in my truck. I got a truck. I was sleeping in a truck outside of the church and the outreach that I was doing. Like I spent as much and all the time I could going out at home, being homeless, going, feeding, and giving water and love to the other homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our outreach would go everywhere. We go down by Cass, where it's just like people, nobody wants to go. Nobody will go. But we would go as much as possible. Usually, it'd be 3 times a week because I was working and everything. But I was still homeless, and I was in not in the same position that they were, but I was able to go to them and tell them we are the same. I
Mm-hmm.
literally am not even different from you at all. And through this love, and showing this love and making these connections and being at service, being at service to others, to those that were struggling, hurting, addicted, starving, and on the streets, like that brought the most enlightenment to me, period. I felt the most purpose, and I felt like I started witnessing miracles that was like undeniable miracles, and I was like, okay, I'll keep sleeping wherever I have to, just allow me to keep giving to others who need. And
Mm-hmm.
I had seen, um many people we had helped get off the street and get clean and get housed and all that. But at the same time, I'm part of and helping others, but no, nobody was helping me get a place or
Mm-hmm.
anything. So, but that's okay. I wasn't asking for that. Um, but just it brought me the greatest of enlightenment to
Mm-hmm.
bring love, food, and water to those who were literally desolate on the streets, and
Yeah.
in positions where they're like, and especially like I realized at first, it's like when I went and I started doing it, and there's this mindset in the street, and when you're homeless and when you're outcasted, that you're not worthy of love, and I tell everybody, I
Mm.
love you. You're my brother, you're my sister, I love you. And at first they just they looked at me like, you're crazy, dude. What do you mean you love me? What are you talking about? I'm like, I love you. You're my brother. You're my sister. We're the same. We're one. I'm here for you. And then day after day, week after week, month after month. Oh my God, you're here with you. We love you. Yeah. And it no longer was it a strange and weird thing. No, it was absolutely embracings and smiles and, oh my God, thank you guys. They called us their God people. I know it's ridiculous,
Mm.
but it's like it helped me so much that it didn't matter how much I was struggling. I was able to help others. That got me through that, and then I was
Mm-hmm.
able to work my way back here and found the love of my life and my family and everything that I prayed for.
So
Truly,
amazing.
truly everything that I prayed for.
Yeah. How would you say your musical style evolved through those experiences?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question, really. Um, so yeah, it's changed a lot. So
Mm.
and I know I'm still by people who know me and known my past music, see me, have a version of me, in their head of like what I am, how how I'm supposed to sound or be, and I was like part of this wave that came in at the time. It wasn't a genre yet, but they ended up calling it new metal, because I
Mm.
loved, I rapped, I sang, and with like punk and heavy metal and reggae and ska, and I just mixed it all together, and I was like, I'm just a mad scientist, and you know and it wasn't really it wasn't a genre yet, but it ended up becoming what is now new metal, which is
Mm-hmm.
not even anymore. It's like gone, but now it's like kind of making a comeback. I don't know. But yeah, so like throughout my younger years, my music, it started out when I was like 11 and 12 being like these kind of like happy little like punk rock ditties, and they got increasingly heavier and heavier
Mm.
and
Mm.
angrier and louder, and my
Mm.
singing went to screaming, went to growling, went to tearing my voice box out. Um, and that was a that was the only I realized then when I turned 18, 19, that was literally me letting all my demons out, that
Yeah.
was me expelling all the negativity and all the pain and all that. um, and that was my way to do it, because I had stopped. It was the first time that I had stopped or wasn't doing it. And I didn't even go a year. It wasn't even a year, and
Mm.
I was losing my mind. I was going crazy. I was like, if I don't do this, I'm going bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I ended up being like, okay, because I had these guys who were calling me and over again asking me, hey, come audition for us. We heard about you. Come audition for us. And I was like, not interested, not interested. And then finally, I was just like, yeah, sure, fine, I'll go. And it ended up being my biggest, most successful band that I was with. It's God's funny, Spirit has a sense of
Yes.
humor. Um, so that's what through no matter what pain and suffering, I'm like, I gotta, I've kind of been a comedian too. You gotta find the light in it, and you gotta make light of it, and there's comedy in everything, you know.
For sure.
As long as you live through it, to look back at it and see it, and then, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, and so how would you describe your music style right
So
now?
yeah, now it's completely changed. Like I don't even care to touch a distorted electric guitar. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love acoustic music. Like I've fallen in love with the acoustic guitar. What I try to do, or what I do now, is very vulnerable. It's
Mm-hmm.
very open. It's not this ego. I'm so bad, and look at what I can do. It's like, oh, here's my heart, and I'm about to bleed it out for you in a very intimate way, which is the total opposite from what it used to be and what I was as a performer or part of anything. Um, I was saying that, like, I just had a little reunion set with one of my bands from like 20 years ago, and I got to get up there and do some heavy music, and it was fun. I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy it. Like, it was cool, and it had a great time, and everybody there had a great time. But it's not me. Like, I'm not the same dude I was then, and I don't desire to to uh, to play that music or to sound that way. Truly, what I do is I try to, um, as far as songwriting and empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
empowerment, and I want to touch people in their heart. I want to just be like, oh, that's cool, that's trendy, that's hip, that's what's going on. It's like I don't care about any of that at all, and it's like, as far as genres go, like, call it what you want. Like, it's just acoustic music, I guess. Natural, real.
Mm-hmm.
I still, though, like, love the fact that I have gone down the road of technology, that I can incorporate electronica and all of these other elements, and get this really still natural, organic feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to say that I owe, really, coming into this, so much to my partner Mickey. you know she really
Yeah.
has allowed me to open up and to discover this part of myself that has been so liberating and so healing and so satisfying, like truly satisfying,
Mm.
just like what I've done with you. It's like truly
Yeah.
satisfying, like the things that I've done, like, this is like, so my second podcast with you, because me and Mickey did one, and then
Yeah.
I did my first podcast was Hip Podheads. And like, I never even thought I'd be on one podcast, and then I created with you, the music and the trailer, and it's like these amazing firsts that are, it's like, oh yeah, I played the bar, dude. I played the biggest club. I played
Mm.
House of Blues, sold it out. Like, so what? Like,
Mm.
that- that's great for the ego to say that. Like, oh, I've done this. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Like,
Mm-hmm.
my job as a musician is to empower people, and is to give the truth, my truth, and the truth of the collective. So everything that I can't really say, I I put in there, because in a song, well, that's lyrics, that's entertainment. But what
Mm-hmm.
people maybe not realize is there's a much deeper thread of truth underlying in there, that
Yeah.
is subconsciously, on purpose, to awaken your spirit and to
Mm-hmm.
open up your heart chakra and your heart space, so that you could expand, so that you could be uplifted, exalted,
Yeah.
not pounded down to the ground. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's
That's
humbled
so
me a
cool.
lot, and it's softened me a lot.
I love your how you were so proper in classical music and then you went to like
So crazy.
raging and then you just like met Mickey and it just like softened your soul or something. I just you guys are so perfect together.
Thank
I I
you.
I love you both so
We
much.
love
Mickey was
you.
also on the podcast and every time we speak it's just like I feel so connected with you guys and I was actually so
Yeah.
surprised about your rapping new metal whatever
You've
because
never
I
heard any of it,
knew
huh?
Yeah, well, I as I was preparing myself for this interview, I was like, "Oh, let's go see what he was doing before." And then I was like, "Oh my god, this is so different from what I know he does right now." And
So
I was
different.
very surprised.
Mhm.
I met and knew you, by looking into your past, and it's very fun to hear you talk about it because I feel like it's such an important phase to actually be able to let it out,
Right.
and because classical music can be like so proper and so
It
controlling,
was
and then
strict.
yeah, super
It was a
strict.
strict learn. It was a strict learning. Very very controlled. So as soon
Yeah,
as I was able to break that mold, I was like, no rules.
yeah.
I don't have to do this the way I'm told. I'm gonna do it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was.
think that that's still what you're doing right now. You're doing it your way. It's very specific,
Mhm.
very unique what you do, and it's
Thank you.
very we feel like it's coming from the heart, where what you were doing before was coming like from the gut, I feel.
Yeah, it was very guttural, very guttural. Mhm.
And just like that energy just like lifted to your art and to your heart and to your art.
Mhm.
And
The best place to start with the art from the
I
heart.
know.
I mean, but
Yeah,
but
and
I had to go through those.
yeah.
I got to go through that. It's like all those stages, these growing, these stages of growth, and the growing pains that come along with them. That just literally are the blessings in disguise. They're the lessons I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am have I feel so great playing beautiful music. I feel so great playing with my partner just in
Hmm.
this beautiful sounds, like no more dissonance. Like I've
Yeah.
had enough dissonance in Discord. Like
Hmm.
I'm aware
Hmm.
of what it does and I've experienced it, I've created it, I've generated it. And now I know that I am now completely in control of the flip side of it. So when you become aware of it and you're like, oh, well, this is actually way more powerful than I even thought. Now I
Hmm.
have to flip it on its head, you know?
So
Hmm.
what are the next step for you? Like what are your creative project that are coming up?
Mm. Wow. So yeah, right now I'm super blessed to be recording and producing this audio book by Nikki Patton.
Hmm.
Um, it's incredible. It's called Working on Me. It's out on Vine Muse Press. And Nikki is such a genuine, again, you want to talk about the power of vulnerability and authenticity and being real? Right there, 100%.
Hmm.
And doing an audiobook is actually a lot more work than doing music. A lot more work. And I said, I don't care. This is bigger than me. So we've already started recording and working on that. So the audiobook "Working on Me" by Nikki Patton will be. We don't know when it's going to be done. But we're working on it. So that's coming in the future, and that's super exciting. It's like another amazing first for me that I never imagined that
That
I'd
is
be
so
doing.
cool.
It's
Are
amazing.
you doing music for the audiobook or you're reading?
No, she's narrating and reading, and I am literally holding safe space and engineering and slicing, cleaning. I mean, I'm engineering, producing,
Oh,
mastering.
amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. I'm gonna link the book. If the
Yeah,
the audiobook, I don't think it's gonna be out or like when I publish this, but I'm gonna link the book. The cover is so beautiful,
right.
and for those who can read it, who wants to read it,
It's amazing.
and eventually when the audiobook is coming out, I'm gonna
It's
link it.
intense. I mean, the book
It
is
looks amazing.
amazing. And let me tell you, the audiobook already with what we're doing, it's more like an audio movie than a book. I mean, first of all, Nikki is a spoken word master, a poet,
Oh yeah.
a prize winning poet, singer, performer. I mean, so it's just, yeah, it's super cool. Super
So
cool.
amazing.
After everything I've been through, it's like people might, yeah, to me, I find it amazing. It's really great.
Yeah. It's
It's
like it's only about like following our path and seeking the truth and keep on saying yes
yeah,
to whatever light your heart up, you know?
yeah, yeah. Like that's the whole thing. Was like, I saw it as an opportunity, to grow and to help
Mm,
and to put something really helpful and necessary out into the world.
mm,
So, it just I get really blessed with the opportunity again, to do something that's bigger and more important than little old me here. And it's cool because I literally am just holding space and just making sure that it sounds beautiful and that it's
mm.
clean and that everything is, but as far as the narration and all that goes, it's even if I'll tell you, by the time it comes out, even if you have read the book, you're gonna want you're gonna want to
Yes.
listen to the audiobook because
Yes, it's
it
like
is
another
intense.
experience. Yeah,
Oh, to
it's just
hear to
another
hear to
experience.
hear it, I mean, I'll tell you, we did a whole weekend session, three we did 3 days of straight, and yeah, I'm about as honest as they come. There are many times I'm just tears pouring down my face, and
Amazing.
I'm just like, whew. By the time I hit stop, I'm just like, okay, let's
That's so cool.
it's really intense. It's really so raw and so real.
Yeah.
Like hats off to Nikki. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
I cannot wait to read it and to hear it.
You need to, yeah.
So, to end this podcast, I like to ask my guest a specific question to end every episode. And this is the question: what would you say to your little child if you met yourself,
Mm.
like when you were younger, knowing the whole path you're going through? What would you tell your little self?
I would tell my little self that this temple is not indestructible.
Mm,
That this temple is a temple,
mm,
and I would have st- I would have told myself, don't do the abuse to yourself that you did. Don't do it, because you are not invincible. Because I think that was a big thing when I was, because I truly believed that I was unbreakable and invincible, and nothing could stop me or hurt me. And then, like that, and then all of a sudden, who am I? What am I? And that's
mm,
when, really, no matter how spiritual you are, when you're stuck there, you need to you're going there. You're going in. So I would
mm,
I would tell I would tell that little Bradley, I'd be like, take care of yourself. It's okay, have fun. Well, have fun,
mm-hmm,
but don't go down those paths, because those paths are going to create a lot of damage. So I
mm,
guess I would try to tell myself, um, I would try to convince myself that it was the ego telling me that I'm invincible, and that in truth
mm-hmm.
we're so fragile. We're these
Yeah.
super fragile beings that need to be handled with delicate hands. Always fragile and delicate hands. And I wasn't that way with myself. So I guess that's what I would do.
Thank you. Thank you, Bradley. And as you mentioned a little earlier, you're having some little hiccups physically. So I want my listener to bring you, to send you all the love, all the light,
Thank
all the
you.
good energy for you to heal that shit and
Yeah.
come back stronger.
Right.
And you have so much more to create in this world. And I cannot wait to see what your offerings are for the future. Thank you
I
so much.
thank you so much for having me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever I'm able to do, and grateful to do so. So thank you for having me. Love you.
Thank you. It's my
Soul
pleasure. Much
sister.
love.
Much love.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope it inspired you to create new ways in your life. Remember, you can always support Shakti's Gift by reviewing it on Apple Podcast, following it wherever you like it best, and sharing your favorite episodes with your community. It's always great to receive your feedback, so let's spark conversation in the comments and create connections between us. You can also buy me a coffee by clicking the link in the description of the show, and I'll mention you in the next intro. I'll leave you with this great quote by Osho. Creativity is the greatest rebellion in existence. I wish you guys an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.